But of course, we have to touch on this. Liverpool fans booed the national anthem that was played before their match against Brentford. Why was it played? It was played to mark the coronation of the King. In a moment, you're going to hear Jurgen Klopp on this, but this is what happened.
First and foremost, today is obviously a big day for England, and I respect that a lot. And everybody who wants to be happy about it and wants to celebrate it is allowed to celebrate it. But we have, thank God, since a while, and not everything is better nowadays than it was in the past, but we have the freedom of free speech, and that means of free opinion as well. And I thought how the people did it. It was clear that something like this will happen. I think everybody knew it. And that's allowed, and that's fine. Nothing else happened. It was not any kind of chance or whatever. Just the people showed they were not always happy in the past with the things, how the people of Liverpool, the city or the club were dealt with. And that's then what they did. That's it. But I think really today, for all other people who love the day and I'm not sure if you say congratulations to the King. If we do that, then I do that here. It's really celebrated and don't think about other stuff. But people who are not happy about it, say it, and then that's it. I think it was absolutely okay.
So that was Jurgen Klopp. Say it, and then that's it. And it was absolutely okay. Simon, I noticed on Twitter, you immediately put a very short reaction. Wasn't this impressive? Obviously tongue-in-cheek. But the Liverpool fan, as Klopp said, it was always going to happen. It was clear it would happen.
Yeah.
So it is freedom of speech.
Yep.
It is freedom of opinion.
Yes, it is.
So what's wrong with that?
But you don't get freedom of speech without freedom of consequence. So freedom of consequence comes, i.e. what you say has a consequence for saying it. So by definition, people will have an opinion on it. So the consequence for your freedom of speech, if that's what you think, putting banners up, like stick your crown up your, whatever the terminology was, is freedom of speech, then the consequence will be people will opine on it. Look, we knew this was going to happen.
Why should there be consequence to it, incidentally?
Because there is. Because freedom of speech doesn't come without freedom of consequence. You get the right to say something, and then ultimately people will have a reaction to it, or there'll be a consequence to it.
But consequently, these fans would stick with what they did,
and that's fine,
and say we were right to do it. It's how we feel,
and that's how they feel. And if they want to draw a parallel between what I believe to be the case, and maybe Liverpool fans will come on and correct me, if they believe that the Tories of the 80s were put in place by the royal family, and the royal family are the establishment, and everything that was done to Liverpool was as a result of the Tories and the royal family. That's their viewpoint. They're entitled to their view. Over the years, we've all had the greatest of sympathy and empathy with the challenges and the tragedies that the Liverpool fans have had. I find this very difficult to respect. I think it's their view, and as they rightly say, they have a view, and if this is the way they want to air it, if this is how they want to represent their football club and represent the sentiments of what Liverpool represents as a football club around the world, that's their gift. If they want to boo Jordan Henderson as one of their own because he sang God Save the King, then I think that's, where's your freedom of speech then? Your freedom of speech works for you when you want to express your views, but Jordan Henderson, one of your own, Kenny Dalglish, one of your own, other people that have been given gongs by the royal family that are part of the establishment which you profess to rebel against or despise, I'm not seeing you have the same vitriol towards them. I think it's sad. I also think Liverpool perhaps should have stood down the national anthem. There was a guideline from the Premier League suggesting this might be something, given this moment in history, this unique moment in history. It's like the protesters coming into London, the Peter Tatchells of the world. If you don't want to be part of it, don't be part of it. People are celebrating it. The bulk of the country is celebrating it.
But they want to be part of it because they want to make their feelings known.
But there's a time and a place to make your feelings. If you don't,
they don't want to hide from it. They don't want to shy away from it. They want to make their feelings known.
And the football fans have more of a view, have a right to a view in this instance. Because my view is, if you don't want to be part of a party, why go to that party and ruin it? Right? If I don't like someone's house, I wouldn't go to their birthday party and ruin their birthday party because I don't like them. Right? You just wouldn't go. So that's why I disagree with the protesters in London. But the Liverpool fans, I have a bit more empathy with it because it was foisted upon them. Now, maybe Liverpool, they went to a football match. They didn't go to celebrate the coronation. Right? So why do we need to have this national anthem?
Well, everyone was doing this up and down the country.
But they were given a choice. Now, given the nature, well, it wasn't going to be any respect. There was going to be this headline. So perhaps Liverpool, as a club, should have stood down the national anthem and said,
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's a minority. Okay, it's a growing minority.
But look at the media narrative.
I think they're wrong.
Of course they're wrong.
I think they're wrong to boo. And I think it should be like a statement.
No, you think they're wrong, they think they're right.
But it's a statement of pride, Jim, for what we're celebrating, you know.
But they have no pride in it. They have no reaction. They despise the royal family because of what they believe they represented in the Tories, dissection of that particular part of the world. And we didn't live there, so we can't relate to it.
They've been booing the national anthem since the 1980s.
Yeah, I think it's
a protest against the establishment.
Indeed.
Particularly, again, the then Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher's
I understand
but Jim, part of the
managed decline of the city.
Part of the Constitution is the Prime Minister is chosen by the King. By the people, yes, but he's given the role by the King. That's the only link, really.
But it makes you die, doesn't it? So the alternative to this establishment mentality, which I'm not for, by the way, I don't care that much about the monarchy. I respect their value for society, but I'm not a monarchist. So let's have a Republican. Let's have a President Johnson, shall we? Let's have a President Starmer. Let's have a situation. There's one thing being empathetic towards the tragedies that this football club has. There's another thing indulging this sentiment that the Liverpool fans have. And in this instance, I know they'll go out. I know they'll be outraged. They'll turn around and call me all the names that they normally do. When I'm, you don't know what it's like. You don't know this, and you don't know any other. I just don't think this is particularly admirable. And if I was Liverpool Football Club, the lesser of two evils would have been to stood down the national anthem, because all you've got now is a media narrative that this fan base has a view, which I do not think is enhancing.
But that wouldn't have been a democratic thing to do.
People like Souness, who was the captain of Liverpool, that comes in here raving about his relationship with the monarchy, and then square the circle of how he's played for a football club.
The national anthem should be bringing us together, not dividing us. People should respectfully.
If you feel that way.
Yeah, but look, Jim, this is obviously very political, but I just feel they should have showed that. It should be some sort of pride today in listening to that anthem on the day.
But Martin, what's this got to do with politics? People are making it political. They're suggesting.
But what's it going to do with football?
Well, football is the national game. Football is trying.
Was the Premier League right to force this occasion onto football?
Did they force it, or did they ask the football clubs to take a view? Because I understood that the football clubs had a choice.
Martin Samuel in the Times says there was absolutely no reason to play God Save the King at football matches on Saturday. Certainly no reason once it was apparent that the coronation would fall on the day of a Liverpool home game.
No, there was every reason. That's wrong, because the million people that would have gone and watched football around the country, the majority of them are people that would be pleased to see the coronation. There is a minority that's not. So what you suggest is this unique moment in history of which football forms a part of the natural psyche and the natural culture of this country. All these people in one particular place, the bulk of them would want to celebrate. And there is a minority which you have to respect. So Martin is saying that the exception, basically, because Liverpool fans have this view, stand it down for the other 45 games around the country.
No, he says, yet the Premier League blundered on. And he cites the examples that you have actually correctly cited yourself, Simon. Sir Kenny Dalglish, Ian Rush, MBE, Jordan Henderson, MBE. But those people are not the voice of Liverpool Football Club, not the loudest voice. Anyway, at the end of the day, Simon, the people who pitched up here in London to protest against the coronation, were they wrong?
To do it, yes, I think they were, yeah. Because as I said to you earlier on, you are entitled to your view. What you're trying to do is hijack something that the majority of people want to celebrate because you want to superimpose your view over it. Your view.
But there is such a thing as freedom of opinion.
And yes, and there's also such a thing as operating in a way that's respectful of the majority.
You see North Korea trending on Saturday when these people were arrested.
Jim, could they not just silently protest? Do they have to make such a booing noise and attract attention to it?
You'd have to ask them.
But again,
they're not doing it for no reason, are they?
Well, they're doing it for their own reason.
They feel totally justified in doing it.
And that's fine. And they have plenty of time to do it.
You feel totally justified in saying they're wrong.
But that doesn't mean we have to agree with it, does it?
I don't necessarily have the same view that you have, that a republic is the better alternative. I don't have a view that the monarchy are the greatest thing since sliced bread. I have an ambivalent view, and I can see both sides of an argument. But if I'm invited to a party and I hate the person whose party I'm going to, and all I want to do is go and ruin it for everybody else that's there, I wouldn't go to that party.
It's not really the same thing.
Well, it is exactly the same thing. This is a celebration of a monarchy. You don't want to be part of it. That's fine.
So you oppose it?
So you can go and protest. No.
You have the right to oppose it.
This idea about protesting and this democratic right we have in this society about the right to protest, there is a boundary. There is a level that you're entitled to, and what the activists are doing is pushing it and then hiding behind freedom of speech. Let's tell you what we'll do. We'll enforce our minority views over you, disrupt your view of it, try and create a different culture in this country because it's our view, and then we'll get on with it under the auspice of freedom of speech. We'll glue ourselves to buildings. We'll shut down roads that people can't get their family to hospitals because our view is this. Our view is more important than the majority's view. And we've got to get on with it because under the auspice of freedom of speech, that's what they trot out. Freedom of speech is fair, but not without freedom of consequence. They have to have the same weight, the same opportunities.
We're going to put it out there. Liverpool fans listening this morning, were you there at Anfield for the match? And before the game, when the National Anthem was played, did you boo? Do you feel as a result of that, you let your own club down? You saw your own players in the centre circle, heads bowed. Wonder how they felt. But how did you feel, and why did you feel that way? Did you let your club down, or does it show the naivety of the Premier League trying to force the occasion onto football in the first place? 03717 223344 81089.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.